Fighters, let's get settled. Amanda! Long live the Commander-in-Chief, long live! 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 Come on, go! Thank you very much. Fighters, sizothatha lethuba ukuthi samukele umongameli wethu, the president and the commander-in-chief. Usefikile ngaphakathi kwethu. President, in front of you is 724 Battalion of Mpumalanga, highly disciplined. Highly disciplined President, since we arrived here on Friday with the registration, 9 o'clock they were here because they understand that when the organization communicates, for them is to respond. They were here and we started and we opened the conference on Friday evening. Sasebenza, angithi besebenza. Sasebenza until the early hours. Sakubeka izolo sasebenza until today. We are still working, we are not done. President, I want to assure you that for the last 3 days we are here, we've never had any incident of ill discipline or any incident. These fighters, they've been disciplined and they continue to demonstrate that maximum discipline. And we are very happy with them. And we want to say to you, Mangameli, wamukelekile la eMpumalanga. Siyakwamukela sonke sama fighters aseMpumalanga. Thank you very much. So we're not going to waste time. I'm going to call on the actual ground force, the hard worker himself, the one who goes to the ground, the one who does not tell you what to do, he shows you what to do. The fearless leader of the EFF, a revolutionary, the comrade President Julius Malema.
Thank you. Amandla. Amandla. Viva EFF, viva. Kula EFF, kula. Kula EFF, kula. Tata EFF, tata. Tata EFF, tata. Oza 2024, Oza. Oza 2024, Oza. Amandla. Thank you very much. Siyabonga nobhala jikelele. Sibonge also our CCT deployees. who are here today and take this opportunity to congratulate the elected top 5 of Mpumalanga and thank all delegates from Kangala, Ehlanzeni, Butlabela and Gersibande for maximum discipline that was shown when this conference started. You must know, comrades, that the people of Mpumalanga are awaiting the outcomes of this conference. They do not care who is the leader. All they care about is, do you have a solution to the unemployment facing our people? Do you have a solution to poverty levels that our people are subjected to? How are you going to provide water and reliable sanitation and ensure that all schools have got flushing toilets and the classrooms and staff rooms are in good condition? Our people want to know how you are going to deal with issues of health facilities, because the whole of Mpumalanga, the health facilities have collapsed. There is no longer public health in Mpumalanga. All those who are sick only go to hospital to pass away. The hospitals of Mpumalanga have actually become mortuaries instead of becoming places where we heal people and reintegrate them back into society. Mpumalanga is a well-known province of corruption and of potholes all over the province. So when they speak about potholes, Mpumalanga is the first province that comes into our head, because the government of Mpumalanga in all regions and all municipalities have abandoned our people for palace politics. They only think about themselves and think about those who are around them. So we hope when the SG says you are waking the whole night and waking also a night after your arrival, and you are still waking even now, he refers to all those matters I spoke to. How do we make sure that the University of Mpumalanga does not only have one campus, but find other campuses in all the regions, so that there is no region in Mpumalanga without a university? The same goes to the whole of South Africa, because you cannot make education fashionable when there are no regions in other parts of South Africa. How terrible can the ANC be when the Bantustans actually build universities? When you talk Mangosuthu University or Zululand or all of that, they were built by Bantustans. When you talk about Univen, when you talk about University of Limpopo, they were built by apartheid Bantustans. And when you talk about Mpumalanga University, you talk about that which they inherited from the apartheid regime. They do not know how it feels to dig a foundation for the construction of a university which they have not inherited a building from an apartheid government. They've not even now built a single city based on minerals. When you talk about Johannesburg and Gauteng, it is Johannesburg because of the discovery of gold. When you talk about Kimberley, it is the discovery of diamond. When you talk about Cape Town, it is because of the beauty of its nature and natural resources. So a city is built out of either natural resources or mineral resources. Here in Mpumalanga, we've got both, the natural and the mineral resources. Mpumalanga has got Kruger National Park and Kruger Airport is the only airport that is always packed with private jets because a lot of foreigners fly into Mpumalanga. You can have Mpumalanga economy built only on tourism, where people exchange dollars and pounds and euros and all manner of currencies that you want to refer to. But only the leadership that is able to unearth the potential of its own province as to what makes province of Mpumalanga to be what it is. The President of South Africa went to international conferences and signed an agreement that South Africa will do away with coal. We will no longer use coal, meaning all those mines in Mpumalanga that have created both economic and job opportunities for our people are going to be closed. Yet, you've got a province of the ANC in Mpumalanga which survives through coal, create economy, create jobs out of coal. Go and meet and say, we want this president who wants to close our mines for the second term. Because indeed, we want this president to close these mines so that the communities of Mpumalanga can suffer. Nobody in his good state of mind can even think of electing Ramaphosa for the second term. When you argue with ANC people, do not use too much Marxism and Lenin when you are arguing about Ramaphosa. Just ask them one thing. Tell me one thing that he has done right since he became president. I don't need more. Then I will support you on your second term. There is no single thing in the past years since Ramaphosa became president that he has done right. The economy is collapsing. The price of petrol is too high. The price of food is too high. Since he became president, millions and millions of our people have lost jobs after he said he's going to create jobs. The state of health and education in South Africa is no longer in good condition. When he came in, they said to us, Ramaphosa is going to fight corruption and grow the economy. Today, the economy is in a worse situation than before Ramaphosa became a president. Corruption is at its highest level, to a point where people are tired of banking money in the banks. They are banking in their own mattresses. There is no any other definition of the highest form of corruption and immoral leadership than the one we have now. That saves money in the mattress. And then when they find out that another Tsotsi has stolen from them, they don't go to court to open a case to the police. They organize other Tsotsis to go and look for the other Tsotsi. Because that's how the gangsters work. Law-abiding citizens of South Africa, when something is stolen from them, they go to police station and say, I've lost my TV. It is only gangsters who go and steal drugs and hide them. When they leave, one of the gangsters go back there to steal those drugs. They can't go to police station and say our drugs are stolen. They organize each other. Or we suspect so and so. Baru Uchile so. When I so, we'll catch him on the other side. And that's how gangsters work. And that's what we saw when the mattress money went missing. A chopper was taken to go and look for thugs in a foreign land without a case number. A woman was tortured by men, well-built men, torturing a woman in a house of a president looking for stolen money from the mattresses. There are certain things that you don't do. How can you deal as a politician and then you don't even go to police station? There is nothing more you can do. Instead of doing that, no, he goes and takes the same police who are supposed to ask him a question. Before we look for the dollars, where did you get the dollars? Because that's what police always ask us. Our TV is lost. Okay, do you still have a receipt or anything of that sort to demonstrate that this indeed you have a TV? When a car is stolen, they want you to produce papers to prove that you've got a car and indeed that car has been stolen. No, the police join in the criminality too. They don't ask where you got the dollars from. They join in the criminality to go and look for other criminals. This current police commissioner was at the center of using state resources for personal benefit of a politician. Comrades, I said to you, ask them one question. What is the one thing that he has done right? Even Zuma himself, the man we thought was worse, has never used the police to go and chase after those who stole his goats or cattle. But here you've got a man who's more educated than Zuma, who, by the way, did law at the University of Limpopo, who's supposed to know the law better than me and you. He violates the law knowing it very well. How do you have such a person in the highest office who's going to stand up tomorrow in front of us and say, we must not abuse women? Yet, he's the one who ordered the torturing of a woman at his house. After the torturing of that woman, he takes a mic and says, do not abuse women. He goes and brings money in the country against the currency laws of South Africa without following any process. From there, he takes a mic and says, you must respect the laws of South Africa, which he himself has got no regard for. When you take an oath of office as a president, one of the things you say is that I will protect the constitution and the laws of South Africa. Once you violate that, you no longer qualify to be a president. So our call for Ramaphosa to go, it is based on what is required morally and ethically for a person to be a president of a country. The standard of accountability and the standard of morality and ethics cannot be lowered when it comes to Ramaphosa. But when it comes to Malema or Zuma or any other person, the standard is very high. You ought to ask yourself a simple question. What if that man was found in Malema's mattresses? What was going to happen today? And why is that not happening to Ramaphosa if it was going to happen to Malema? We are all equal before the law. There is no one who is above the law, including the current president. And that's where we come from. Let's all be held to the same standard as leadership. Comrades, you have to build a strong organization as dictated to by Lenin. One of the schools of thought that we follow as the EFF is Leninism. Lenin teaches us that we need to form a party of the working class that will represent uncompromisingly the interest of the working class. Who is the working class? The working class is everybody who doesn't own the means of production. So anyone who doesn't own the land, who doesn't own the mine, who doesn't own the banks, who doesn't own monopoly industries, belongs to a working class. There are two classes in society. There is a working class and there is a bourgeoisie class. The bourgeoisie class is a class of those who own the means of production in a country. It is owners of the banks, it is owners of the industries. So, when we say we represent the working class, we don't necessarily mean we represent only the workers who are employed. Everybody who is of a working age and does not have a job, that person is a worker, is an unemployed worker. And therefore, when you speak about the working class, you equally refer to those people. There are people in society who get some few millions because they've got subcontract in some mine, and they start calling themselves a bourgeoisie class. They don't know that being a bourgeois does not mean owning 3 trucks that deliver coal, and therefore you think you belong to the upper class in society. So everybody who is in the lower class, who doesn't own the means of production, belongs to us. We are building a vanguard party that will look after the interest of the working class. And that vanguard party can only be a vanguard party if it's grounded on discipline and hard work. It is only the survival of a vanguard party through disciplined members and disciplined leadership. One of the key issues that Lenin teaches us is what we call democratic centralism. Democratic centralism means that before the provincial leadership takes a decision, it has to canvass the views of the membership. And from there, it must take a decision. Once a decision has been taken by an upper structure, democratic centralism dictates that all the lower structures are bound by that decision. What am I talking about? If you came here not supporting these people who have been elected as the top 5, and you lost because the majority decided that they want this top 5, it is the upper structure that has now finally taken a decision, whether you wanted them or you didn't want them. In the discipline of the vanguard party, through democratic centralism, that decision is binding on you, including those who did not want this leadership. So, a disciplined member expresses his view internally without fear or favor. When you stand up here to nominate another chairperson who is not Colin Sidibe, you are doing nothing wrong but exercising your right. And you must never be victimized for having exercised your right. You do it internally, you do it in this meeting, because you are the one who did not support Colin Sidibe or any of these top 5. When you leave here, your first status is to congratulate those you did not want because they won. The discipline dictates that a decision you held, a view you held, once defeated by majority, you must be the first one to accept that decision and be the canvasser of that decision. But if you hold that view very strong, do not give up on it because the majority have said in this conference your view is wrong. No, you don't give up on that view. You continue to work for that view, and you do that through disciplined manner internally in the organization. Because majority can also be wrong. It's not always the time that the majority is correct. The decisions of the majority must also meet a test of rationality, whether that which they've taken does it meet the rationality test. Let's take, for example, in Parliament, the ANC says the Nkandla report is the final report, where they were showing a swimming pool as a fire pool. The EFF says, no, you are abusing your majority. And then it takes them to court. The court says, yes, in your majority, you are wrong. That decision you took, it's wrong, and therefore, through your own internal parliamentary processes, you must go and correct that decision. So, do not always feel bad when your ideas are not taken in a conference. You might be one of the most advanced detachment of the vanguard party. You might be thinking ahead of the majority, and many of them are going to realize later how correct you were. So if it's not about your own personal glory, but about a principle you hold, even if it doesn't emerge, you just say, okay, we'll see it next time. Maybe we have not done enough work to canvass majority of our people. Anyone who held a different view and once defeated by the majority and lives here to still pursue that view on the Facebook, then the majority was correct. This person does not qualify to be a leader, because for you to be a leader, you must be led by others. And the fact that you are being led today, it doesn't mean you won't lead tomorrow. Unless you think EFF is going to die tomorrow, you want to lead it now before it dies. Look at the ANC. The membership of the ANC wants to become the leadership. So if you call a conference like this for the ANC, they will all want to sit on the stage, because our leadership is just to wear a suit and a tie, and without ideas, you can become a leader. Some of these boys are speaking now about us in the ANC because we are not there. When we were there, they had no single view, none whatsoever. They will dare open their mouth in our presence. Now that we are not there, they want to behave like they are brave, because bakwampa bakwatlala banyaka uja before ntwe ya bona ikhwa ba bona re ntwe itlokwa eri before ikhwa le nna ke tshware sengwe nyana. That's what they are all doing. They are fighting for their portion. Whether the EFF is strong or not, whether there is EFF or not, naturally, the ANC is bound to die a natural death. History teaches us in Africa that all liberation movements in the continent, after 30 years in power, they start eating themselves. They don't wait for anyone to come and eat them. So you don't have to eat the ANC necessarily. It's going to die its natural death. And when it dies the natural death, the people are going to look around. And when they look around as to what can be the alternative, They must find a formidable force of the vanguard of the working class, the EFF, waiting for that mandate from the majority of our people to lead society. So, comrades, let us not talk about how the ANC is going to be killed and how we are going to kill the ANC. The topic should be, how do we build a strong organization so that when time comes, our people know where to go because we have been there for our people. Our people doubt new ideas. That's why toothpaste is still called Colgate, because Colgate was the first one to be produced. Checkers, the shop called Checkers, ke yona ya mathomo ya o fa batho ba le di plastic e ba yo reka. So ba nya go tlhalosetsa motho re mpe plastic yela ke tswang le yona kwa Checkers, ba re mpe Checkers. La e tswa Shoprite ino bitswa Checkers because Checkers was the first one. It is the same with the ANC. When you send the IEC a tent so that the people can choose a different party, they ban the tent of the IEC. Why? They see ANC as a synonym for politics, and IEC is politics, and therefore politics is ANC. We don't want them here. But once you build a strong branch of the EFF, which becomes an alternative, they will always know that politics do not mean the ANC. Therefore, we can choose a different party, and the tent of the IEC is actually giving us an opportunity to choose an alternative party. But they will never do that if you do not canvass a strong ANC in Emalahleni, a strong EFF against a strong ANC, because the ANC is a brand, and to remove a brand is not going to be an easy thing. We are going to work very hard. That's why when your secretary resigned here in Mpumalanga, we said to him, good riddance. We hope you will contribute positive wherever you are going. Because your secretary was the most useless person that we have come across in the organization. He was the most unreliable secretary who could not give you the simplest stats of not branches. How many wards are in Botlhabelo? Wards. He had no idea what we're dealing with. And when they presented me with a letter, I was like, yo, you know, this organization has got a way of cleaning itself. Because we're going to come here and have to contest against him. And for some reason, he even wins. And he still continues as a secretary who doesn't know how many wards are in Kangala. You must not accept to lead if you don't know what is expected from you. These comrades here, if one of them you say, no, go to Her Sibande and do the following, and her response or his response is, Her Sibande is too far, you must know that you have elected a wrong person. Because to lead in the province, means this province becomes your stage. There is no any corner of this province that is far. You can be there when you are required to be there as a with regional leadership. You get the whole regional chairperson is in the rural areas that are turning against the ANC. Rural toe for toe, and why you wake up and say the ANC is strong there. Is not doing well. And look at which voting station does not do well. And zoom in as a do not have a privilege to complain. They've got a privilege to provide solutions. That's what leadership is about. And when you don't have solutions, the province is there, the national is there. We have a problem here. We need some sort of intervention in order to take the ANC toe for toe. I was very happy with the last by-elections we held here in Mpumalanga, in Bushbuck Ridge. We did not celebrated because I saw that those comrades in that ward, they were putting up a fight. They were not scared. There is nothing obvious in politics. The ANC doesn't own our people. Our people belong to parties they choose themselves, not because they get 350, not because they get grants, not because they get food parcels. It is their democratic right to vote any party they want to vote, staying in an RDP house. That RDP house is not provided by the ANC. That EFF, even when it gets elected tomorrow, it will still have to build the RDP houses because people are paying tax for that money. How do people know this information? You ought to go to them and explain to them. But once they've done, they will not go back. You ought to do a proper diagnosis so that you provide a proper prescription. In that sense, informed by Marx's theory of dialectical materialism, you will never provide a proper prescription. And this society is either going to be sick worse or it will die. So every branch, when it meets, there must be a political input from the chairperson. You must discuss a political item as a branch because that is the only way you are going to know politics. But these EFF branches that meets every day to discuss the PR councillor, and then you call those politics, we have more bigger problems than the weave of to recruit. When you are There is so much to do and to weaves and how an individual Let leaders be elected on merits. We want to take this organization forward. We want to build an organization that is strong, not only in the province, but also on the ground. Comrades, people who do negative things in your life, if you sit down and listen and look at your life, you are where you are because of people who did bad things to you. I agreed to form the EFF because the ANC did bad to me. So do not look at people who do negative things in your life in a negative way. Get them into the PCT, because when you think of not preparing a political input, you are going to think of that guy who's going to come for you for not doing political input, and then you will start preparing a political input. You are going to think of that lady who's going to say, but these minutes are not written properly. Next time when you write, you take your time, you write neatly, you check grammar, you check spelling, you make sure issues are well captured. Why? Una le motho shuga mo PCT untina into becoming a better asset for the movement. So do not always think this person does not like me, therefore must not come into the same structure where it is that negativity which might be propelling movement forward in your life. So it's important that you don't allow a PCT of yes men and yes women. Yeah? When Colin has spoken, Ustal Ukulumi, Ustal. We can't allow that. We need a robust PCT which is unable to finish its meeting because it's too late, postponed to come back tomorrow, because we want to finish this matter. We don't vote in the PCT, we reach consensus. We persuade each other. We believe in the power of persuasion. Don't say, okay, because we don't agree. Those who agree, raise hands. That's ANC. In the EFF, we lead through superior logic. And superior logic means you must have the facts in persuading us to follow a particular matter. And once consensus are reached, we move forward. We don't raise hands and vote in our own meeting because we disagree on an issue. If it's urgent and required to be resolved, immediately the leadership is there from the province, from the region, from national. You can ask for their intervention and their wisdom to give you guidance. Once you do that, Mpumalanga is in your hands. Auna selo mo bargmang kharbe ya premier. Lebeta le ke bo refilwe batho ba modimo. Le defeat ke bo refilwe. Le bon ngrai a re tsebo kubilwe ke member or a se member. Le be le defeat le ke le pantiti le la be le tshwerwe la yo mogola case ya murder kwa court o bargmang. Mandla Msibi na ke muchabe ake. His name is Mandla Msibi. Barotsa mali di gangster mo. O ka bolela ka ena sleba o lata bushi. O mmucha try. Da mo ruta phela le batho. I'm not scared of Mandla Msibi and his gangsters. I will never be scared of